Get information that's available without taking the cover off. And you get one little feature I like is the pedometer. You get music control, cameras, text messaging, clock. And it's a pretty nice looking way to get quick information without getting completely distracted with the device. It does cover the back of the phone, and you're going to want to use this with this charging station here. The wireless charger is all white, looks pretty nice and simple. You simply place the device onto it and you're charging. There's no cables to mess with. You can hear the little tone of the connection. Let's try that one more time. So it's not charging now. You pop it in and it will charge. So pretty nice device. This is an optional accessory, but it is a pretty reasonable way to charge your phone. It's not going to be quite as fast as plugging it into a micro USB port, but it's a lot more convenient. And if you're at a desk all day, you're going to get up from your desk with 100% battery charge every time. This is Xavier, and this is a new LG G3 Quick Circle wireless charging case. Hey guys, this is Xavier with Gotta Be Mobile. I'm here with Tank Girl, and something they left out of the presentation is something that you discovered, right?
Yeah, so I found this out talking to one of the guys here. It's kind of cool. It's called Magic Focus. It's like Nokia Refocus. So you can hit this, and as you can see, it's just like the Nokia Refocus app. It takes multiple shots at multiple focus depths, and then if you bring this up, you can then selectively refocus after the fact. So now you can like tap on here and get focus here, or tap on the background and get focus there, or tap on that person in the background and get focus on them.
So you got an all focus one, which is pretty cool.
And then there's an all focus mode like this.
And now a camera can't physically focus on the foreground and background, so this is actually combining multiple shots somehow into this all focus feature, and that's pretty neat.
Yeah, it's cool.
You might not think about using this on a day-to-day basis, but this is something like...
know, here you can manually pick the one you want to.
There's a little focus slider over there.
So basically, what's cool about it is it's just like Nokia's Refocus, but they put it in, baked it into the camera app. It's not a separate app.
Yeah, and that's really important because, as we know, most people don't go and install 10 different apps or use 10 different apps to take pictures.
The trick, though, I think is going to be tricky for some users because you need to stay steady while you do this. Yeah. The 8 shots get fired, and most users don't know that. Yeah. And if there's motion in the background, you'll get like these blurry, weird motion artifacts.
And as you see, we have it on the table here to get that steady shot. You're going to want to use a little camera case with all this monopod.
But yeah, to be honest with you, none of this, like all these limitations I just mentioned, apply to Refocus and Nokia as well. Right. Like there's no magic here. You're taking 8 shots or something, 10, I don't know how many, that are basically in a row at different focus depths.
Right, but you combine this with the laser focus feature, and this camera's looking pretty hot.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
Verivox.de, da sparen Sie mit Sicherheit.
LG hat hier auf der IFA in Berlin 3 neue Smartphones gezeigt. Hier drüben die beiden, die kennen wir ja schon aus einer Pressemitteilung, sind aber das erste Mal jetzt zu bewundern. Die sehen wir uns gleich an. Das ist das L Bello und das L Fino. Highlight ist aber definitiv das G3S, also so eine Art Mini-Version des G3. Das sieht man auch schon alleine in der Optik, beispielsweise an diesem Metal-Finish, wie sich das nennt, hier hinten. Das hat so einen typischen Metallic-Look und das hört sich auch so an und fühlt sich auch so an. Ich kann ja gerne auch mal, hier habe ich jetzt noch ein großes G3, so sieht das aus. Jetzt konnte ich auf die Schnelle nur diese dunkle Variante hier ergattern und versuche das jetzt mal ins rechte Licht zu rücken, dass man das halbwegs erkennen kann. Also wie gesagt, diese Metallic-Oberfläche ist absolut identisch. Und man sieht hier hinten auch schon, ich habe wieder diesen Laser-Autofokus auch hier des großen G3 übernommen. Sprich, der soll ja nicht nur besonders schnell sein, sondern auch präzise scharf stellen. Und selbstverständlich, ich habe hier auf der Rückseite wieder diesen Taster- und Lautstärkewippe. Das gilt übrigens auch für alle 3 hier. Also die sind sich doch relativ ähnlich, was das betrifft, was die Bedienung betrifft, die Oberfläche betrifft und vor allen Dingen natürlich auch ein Feature, das, wie ich persönlich finde, einfach sensationell ist. Nämlich, wenn man das hier im Standby-Modus hat, reicht ein Doppeltap, in dem Fall kann ich es jetzt auf dem nicht demonstrieren, ich erkläre gleich warum, reicht ein Doppeltap aus, um das Gerät zu entsperren und dann wischen natürlich. So sieht die ganze Geschichte aus. Das nennt sich Knock-Code. Deswegen braucht man diese Tasten hier hinten eigentlich so gut wie gar nicht. Warum das bei dem nicht geklappt hat? Ganz einfach. Da habe ich nämlich vorhin schon mal mit rumgespielt und da habe ich das sogenannte Knock-Code-Feature installiert. Das heißt, das ist hier Wo haben wir es unter Bildschirmsperre? Da sieht man es No-Code. Da kann man eine Tastenkombination einrichten, also sozusagen in 4 virtuelle Quadranten wird das Display dann unterteilt. Und für alle, die das von früher noch kennen sollten, das ist jetzt nicht mehr, dass man präzise dieselben Stellen treffen muss, sondern ich kann beispielsweise jetzt klein und oben dieses Muster eingeben oder auch sonst irgendwo auf dem Bildschirm ganz groß. Also der erkennt es an jeder beliebigen Stelle in jeder Größenordnung, Relation sozusagen. Also da habe ich dann gleichzeitig Bildschirmsperre und ein schnelles also Aufwachen aus dem Standby-Modus. Deswegen wieder diese Taste hier hinten braucht man eigentlich gar nicht maximal noch die Lautstärke-Wippe. Ja, die große Preisfrage ist natürlich, was ist denn jetzt anders im Vergleich zum großen G3? Natürlich, wenn man sich das hier schon mal anschauen mag, beispielsweise die Bildschirmgröße. Da haben wir ja hier bekanntlich 5,5 Zoll beim großen. Daraus sind jetzt beim kleinen, also beim G3S, 5 Zoll geworden. Hier haben wir diese berühmte QHD-Auflösung, also 1440 x 2560 Pixel. Das ist, ja, ich weiß nicht, ob Weltrekord, auf jeden Fall deutscher Rekord, hierzulande absolut top, 537 ppi, also extrem hohe Pixeldichte, scharfe Bilder. Das ist natürlich jetzt bei dem Kleinen nicht nochmal getoppt worden. Da ist man jetzt runtergegangen. Leider Gottes aber nicht auf Full HD, sondern auf 720 x 1280 Pixel. Das müsste so Pi mal Daumen etwa 300 ppi ergeben. Also 300 ppi, 537 ppi. Man sieht, andere Preisklasse. Aber wir können ja beispielsweise jetzt mal bei hier, ja genau, das, und wenn man dann hier, sagen wir, Tethering und Netzwerke, da unten haben wir noch ein paar schöne kleine, relativ kleine Schriften. Gehen wir wieder zurück, versuche ich jetzt mal hier so nebeneinander in die Kamera zu halten, damit man mal direkt so vergleichen kann. Also da fehlt jetzt nicht viel, wer da mit bloßem Auge sagen kann, wow, das ist jetzt aber um Längen unschärfer. Also klar, ein bisschen was gibt es da, aber nicht wirklich nennenswert. Das sind Marginalien, die da unterschieden sind. Von daher, ich würde auch mal sagen, dass es auch eine andere Käuferschicht anspricht, denn letztlich, wie man sieht, der Formfaktor ist jetzt nicht wirklich so extrem viel kleiner. Wenn wir die mal so übereinander legen, ich versuche das jetzt hier mal auf die rechte untere Ecke in etwa so zu bringen, so müsste das jetzt sein. Also das ist jetzt nicht so viel kleiner, schmaler und auch nicht leichter, dass man sagen könnte, das spielt jetzt haptisch in einer anderen Liga oder sowas. Ich glaube vielmehr, dass es deswegen andere Käufer anspricht, weil es einfach günstiger ist. Weil beim großen G3 sind wir ja unverbindliche Preisempfehlung 549 € mit 16 GB internem Speicher und 599 € unverbindliche Preisempfehlung mit 32. Und hier reden wir über 349 €. Hier gibt es allerdings auch nur 8 GB internen Speicher, hat aber auch eine Speicherkarte, kann ich gleich nochmal zeigen. Von daher, also das ist, glaube ich, einfach Mittelklasse, Oberklasse. Und man muss auch natürlich noch sagen, und jetzt löse ich mal schnell auch mein Versprechen ein, hier einen Blick unter die Haube zu werfen. Wir haben natürlich, also das hat LG wirklich jetzt kapiert, den austauschbaren Akku auch wieder drin. Und hier drüben, das ist so ein Kombislot, einmal für die SIM-Karte, einmal für die SD-Karte. Von daher kann ich natürlich das auch alles auslagern, größtenteils zumindest. 8 GB ist jetzt nicht wahnsinnig viel, vor allen Dingen auch 349 € ist jetzt auch nicht gerade ein Spottpreis, sagen wir mal so. Da hätte man eigentlich auch, glaube ich, nochmal 16 GB springen lassen können. Aber naja, so ist es jetzt nun mal. Deswegen glaube ich, wie gesagt, dass wir da über andere Käuferschichten sprechen. Zumal es ist auch ein komplett anderer Prozessor drin. Es ist der Snapdragon 400, also zwar auch wieder 4 Kerne, aber 1,2 GHz. Hier drüben steckt ja, also im großen G3 steckt der Snapdragon 800 drin. 4 Kerne mit 2,5 GHz, also völlig andere Hausnummer. Auch hier hat man ein bisschen bei der Optik abgespeckt. Da ist jetzt die Auflösung bei den Fotos 8 Megapixel statt hier drüben beim großen G3. Da haben wir ja bekanntlich eine Fotoauflösung von 16 GB und Videos mit 4K. Von daher, also das kann man jetzt nicht wirklich miteinander vergleichen. Das spricht andere Kunden an. So würde ich das jetzt einfach mal interpretieren. Ja, ansonsten, was gibt es noch? Die Ausstattung selbst ist relativ identisch. Also wir haben LTE, UMTS, Dual-C HSPA und so weiter. Das ist auf allen sowieso drauf, Android 4.4.2. Also das sind die groben Unterschiede zwischen G3 und G3S. Und jetzt kommen wir mal hier hinten zu unseren beiden aus der L-Serie. Da werde ich nochmal das Display wieder einschalten. Ja, auch die, wie gesagt, relativ ähnlich, haben auch dieses Knock-Code, Knock-On, haben auch Android und das ist ja relativ nativ, sage ich mal. Also es gibt ja jetzt nicht so große, also ein paar optische Unterschiede bei LG, mit ein paar Add-ons obendrauf, wie beispielsweise hier mit diesen Schnellzugriffen, wo man durchscrollen kann und so weiter. Aber da kommt man, glaube ich, gut mit zurecht. Das sind jetzt nicht so riesige Veränderungen im Vergleich zum nativen Android. Ja, ich fange, glaube ich, hier bei denen mal mit den Preisen an, weil hier beim Fino 179 € und hier drüben beim Bello 189 €. Also gerade mal 10 € Unterschied. Da fragt man natürlich, was soll denn das? Aber das kommt, glaube ich, dann, wenn man das hier erkennt vom Formfaktor her, es ist haptisch für mich doch eine andere Liga, weil das hier ist für mich, ja, ich sag mal, so ein kleines, süßes, dickes Knubbelchen, weil es liegt ungemein kompakt in der Hand, fast schon Handschmeichler, möchte ich an der Stelle mal sagen, hat aber natürlich auch nur 4,5 Zoll vom Display her. 480 x 800 Pixel, Snapdragon 200 Prozessor, also eher so untere Mittelklasse, Unterklasse, zwar Quad-Core, aber nur 1,2 GHz, also wirklich nichts für Gamer und 4 GB Speicher, aber auch hier können wir natürlich mal einen Blick unter die Haube werfen. Ich reiße das jetzt einfach mal hier unten auf. Übrigens bei dieser Gelegenheit, das hier ist tatsächlich auch so rau, wie es aussieht. Ich kann hoffen, man kann das hören. So, also das ist tatsächlich so eine raue Oberfläche hier an dieser Stelle. Das ist wahrscheinlich Geschmackssache, ob man das mag oder nicht. Aber es macht, wie gesagt, optisch, also man fühlt, was man in der Hand hat sozusagen. Wieder Austauschakku. Hier steckt die SIM-Karte unten drunter. Und genau das wollte ich zeigen. Hier habe ich halt den SD-Karten-Slot. Bei der Gelegenheit, die Kamera hat 8 Megapixel, also schießt 8 Megapixel Fotos, auch genauso wie hier drüben. Der Unterschied zwischen den beiden ist vor allen Dingen, dass wir hier ein 5 Zoll Display haben. Wie gesagt, auch der Snapdragon 200 mit 1,3 GHz getaktet statt 1,2. Nicht die Welt, also da können wir uns das schenken. Hat aber von der Auflösung her 480 x 854. Also nur minimal mehr als der kleine Bruder und hat 8 GB unter der Haube internen Speicher statt, wie gesagt, 4. Also da ist dieser eine Unterschied. Für 10 € mehr kann man da wirklich nicht meckern. Und auch hier schauen wir mal, werfen wir mal einen Blick unter die Haube, wenn ich es hier aufkriege. So. Wiederum sehr schön Wechselakku und hier drüben haben wir dann wieder den Kombi-Slot aus Micro-SIM-Karte, Micro-SD-Karte, kann man auch erweitern. Für alle gilt, offiziell gibt LG immer an, bis zu 32 GB werden da unterstützt, aber in fast allen Fällen habe ich gelernt, dass man da auch locker 64 GB Karten reinpacken kann. Es ist halt nur nicht garantiert, manchmal sogar auch 128, da wird es dann aber schon meistens so ein bisschen kritisch. Ja, ansonsten, wie gesagt, von der Preisklasse her, was eher in der Unterliga spielt. Das Fino soll Ende September ungefähr kommen, wie gesagt 179 €. Das El Bello etwa 4 Wochen später, also Ende Oktober 189 €. LTE haben beide nicht, UMTS, HSPA Plus mit 21 Megabit pro Sekunde und wie gesagt Android 4.4.2, also die sind alle relativ gut mit dabei. 8 Megapixel Kamera, das könnte ich mir durchaus vorstellen, dass da der ein oder andere zuschlägt, auch wenn es jetzt LTE nicht hat. Und wie gesagt, hier drüben das G3S soll quasi ab sofort verfügbar sein, 349 € ohne Vertrag. So viel zu den Neuheiten von LG hier von der IFA in Berlin.
Verivox.de, da sparen Sie mit Sicherheit.
Hey guys, this is Xavier with Gotta Be Mobile, and I'm at an LG G3 launch event here in San Francisco, and this is a brand new phone from LG. Really nice device, and I've got it next to the Galaxy S5, the HTC One M8, and the iPhone 5S. Now the first thing you'll notice about the LG G3 when you pick it up is its gorgeous display. It does look better in my opinion than any of these other phones that I have here. Another thing you'll notice is that all these three phones, these Android phones, are about the same size in your hand. So if you go from left to right, the GS5, G3 and HTC One, about the same width, about the same height, but what you'll notice that's a lot different is actual space that is taken up by the display. So you'll see the bezel is much, much bigger on the GS5. You'll see that the HTC One sort of has two bezels if you want to think about that. You have the area where you have the speaker, and then you have the area which is covered by the logo. So this is actually, if you compare it, a lot of wasted space, and something that is something to think about. One of the ways that they get around this is by having the buttons on the back of the display for volume, power on, power off, and it's just a smart way of doing stuff. You'll see that on the Samsung device, we have the logo and the bezel up here, all this junk. That's about double the space of the LG G3, and this just takes up real estate. Now, we're all expecting the iPhone 6 to come out this fall, but this phone really just makes the iPhone 5S look like a joke in terms of screen real estate. So if you put it side by side, you can see that there's almost double the amount of screen real estate on the LG G3 compared to the iPhone 5S. Now the iPhone 5S is still my daily driver because of ecosystem reasons, but it's hard to argue with how nice this display is, how much more useful it can be if you're typing a lot on it or enjoying media. This is Xavier with Gotta Be Mobile, and this is the new LG G3. Hey guys, this is Xavier with Gotta Be Mobile. I'm in San Francisco at an LG event. We're taking a first look at the LG G3. I'm a camera freak, and one thing I really hate about taking pictures with some smartphones is that they don't focus fast enough to catch my 3-year-old running around. And I might just buy the LG G3 for this one feature that we're about to see demoed right here. And I should be able to catch a toddler running around with this, it looks like.
Absolutely, absolutely. So with the G3 and the 13 megapixel OIS Plus camera, also comes with laser autofocus. So you're going to be able to focus at basically the speed of light. So basically how it works is, I'll show you this. I'm going to pull up a card between the G3 and the competitor, and you can see that that G3 had focused within just light speed compared to our competitor.
And we're also getting multiple focus points on the G3,
Correct.
which is something that we see out of advanced point-and-shoot cameras and DSLRs that cost several $1,000s. And as you see, when we drop it and the card is out of the foreground and we're focused on the background of this tube, which might be, for example, a room with somebody running through it, is you'll see both cameras are going to refocus. Now the phone on the right, which sure looks like the Galaxy S5, is going to have a little circle that comes up and doesn't really catch the words in the background. So let's do that again. You'll see it's still blurry on the right, and on the left it's already used the multiple focus points and the laser beam to go ahead and focus. Now if you're wondering why a laser is used, this is a feature we've seen in SLRs for about 2 or 3 decades. They didn't use lasers at first, they would actually use a red flashlight. The reason they use red is because red is not a naturally occurring light, and so it's they would key in on that color code, and it makes the camera think like, gee, if there's red, I better focus on it. Now this is using the same concept, except for now that we're in 2014 instead of 1994, we're using fancy laser beams. Now the lasers aren't going to burn your eyes out or anything, it's a very mild laser, and you probably can't even see it on the card behind the phone, but what it's going to do is it's going to shoot it out, and in a few milliseconds it's going to bounce it back to the camera, and you're focused. This is going to make a real difference in the real world. It's something to be really excited about. In my opinion, it's a killer feature of the LG G3. This is Xavier with Gotta Be Mobile, and this is the new LG G3. Hey guys, this is Xavier with Gotta Be Mobile. This is the LG G3. We're at a tech event here in San Francisco, so we're getting some hands-on time, taking some sample photos and checking out this device. It's a really, really nice Android phone. Has a pretty nice finish to it. One thing you'll notice about this is that this phone is almost all display. The phone is actually, the display is almost twice as big as an iPhone, so if you stack up an iPhone on top of it, it just looks like so tiny, like the actual surface area of the phone. And if you compare it to a couple of our other favorite phones, including the HTC One and the Galaxy S5,
either way, this is
you'll see that there's just a lot less junk on the front of the phone. So you'll see that there's just a small logo down here and a small bezel, whereas HTC One, you've got the speaker, which we love, but you've also got the HTC logo, and then you have the soft touch button. So you actually have to get quite a ways up on this device until you get into the natural part of the display, and it makes a big difference here. The Galaxy S5 is got the same issues in terms of how much of the display is usable. So you'll see that up at the top, there's quite a big gap between the edge and the top of the usable display. So Samsung says there's, or I'm sorry, LG says there's about 76% of the front of this device is display, and it looks like it's even more. Really nice device. It's got a metallic back. I really like that compared to the GS5, which is all plastic. It's not quite as good, well built as the HTC One, however. The HTC One, as I've said repeatedly, is the best built smartphone in the Android marketplace right now, and this doesn't actually come close. Now, there's one thing that the LG G3 definitely has over the HTC One, and this is a 13 megapixel camera. We've only got a 4 megapixel camera here, and this one has a really cool feature, which is a laser beam that actually helps focus the camera super fast in less than 300 milliseconds. You'll notice on the back of the phone there's more stuff on it compared to the standard smartphone. You have a volume rocker button. This is also the button to lock or turn on your phone. You have dual LED flash, and right here is a laser beam for the autofocus system and a 13 megapixel camera. This is an optical image stabilization system, so it'll take care of a little bit of camera shake. Now, there's one thing on this phone that we like but won't be coming to the US, and that is an antenna. If I can get my fingernail under here, you'll see that there's this antenna that slips out from the top, and this antenna is actually for over-the-air television, but that's not going to come to the US. That's only going to be in markets where it's available, such as Korea. Overall, very nice device. It's not perfect, just like any device. There's also always flaws. In this case, not crazy about the build quality compared to the HTC device. It's not waterproof or water resistant like the GS5 is. So if you go inside of the device, you'll see that the SIM card is exposed. There's no gaskets on the back edge. In the GS5, it is water resistant because the ports are sealed, so you get like a flap over the USB port. If you open up this phone, which I'm probably not going to be able to do with one. Let's try and open this one up. There we go. You'll see that there's a gasket that runs along the edge of the electronics to protect them. So you can actually dunk this GS5 in a swimming pool or a bathtub for a little while, and it stands up just fine to water splashes. Unfortunately, we don't have this here. Now, there does look like there's some kind of protection down here, but I'm just not sure if we're protected up here on this edge. So this is the LG G3. Really solid looking device. The display is absolutely gorgeous. It's something that you won't come across in this video if you're watching this on a phone or most desktops. Very high pixel density, and it is really a killer feature of this phone. If you go into some of the pictures I was snapping just a minute ago, to see if there's what else there is. For example, this still life, and the amount of detail that you see in this is just crazy. I really like this phone. At the beginning of the year, I was pretty happy with the HTC One over here, but as time goes on, I think I'm going to pick up this device. This is an LG G3, and this is the latest and greatest smartphone from LG.
Hi everyone, I'm Chung Win for Gotta Be Mobile, and in this video we're going to go ahead and take a look at the LG G Flex, which is AT&T's first smartphone with a curved display or a flexible display underneath the screen housing. So this is the AT&T G Flex. It takes a lot of its design cue from the LG flagship, the LG G2, which is also available on both AT&T and Verizon Wireless in the United States. And we've already covered the LG G2 review, so be sure to check that out. But essentially with the G Flex, LG borrowed a lot of the design cues of the G2. Instead of the G2's 5.2-inch diagonal full HD 1080p display, the G Flex actually uses a larger 6-inch panel with a slightly degraded resolution of 720p, so you're not going to get as crisp a display as on the LG G2. However, in normal viewing, most users likely won't be able to tell the difference, so the difference in display resolution is pretty negligible. The main thing about the G Flex is that the buttons, as found on the G2, have been moved away from the sides of the device, making it a very clean device without any hardware buttons around the sides or even on the front. So you have the on-screen navigation keys for Android for your home menu and your back key. And now the buttons have been moved to the rear side of the smartphone. I'm going to go ahead and peel off this plastic sticker here. And you're going to see that on the rear here, you're going to have the power button as well as the volumes up and down key. And there is also another sticker on the back to protect the buttons, which we're going to go ahead and remove. So now you have the volumes up and down, and in the middle is the power button here, which makes for a nice and interesting design element. LG says that when you're holding the phone up to your face and you're talking, most people rest either the middle or their index finger where this button is naturally placed. So here you can actually toggle call volumes pretty quickly without having to feel around the sides of the display to get at the button. And like the LG G2, you have a 13 megapixel camera here with optical image stabilization, which works pretty well in low light conditions. So essentially in low light, what that means is that you're gonna, the camera's able to have the shutter open longer, which allows more light in. So your picture is going to look a lot brighter even without having to use the single LED flash here on the rear. So this is great for people who are going out to restaurants or bars or clubs and don't want to disturb those around them with a glaring LED flash going off onto the side when they're taking a picture. And here, if you're in a pretty dimly lit place, you're going to still be able to see the pictures pretty good with the optical image stabilization without any motion blur because the shutter is kept open longer. Also, what's new is that LG has migrated from the G2, which has an infrared blaster port here at the top. They've moved it now to the side on the opposite side of the camera lens from the LED flash. So here, along with the quick remote application, you're able to control your home entertainment system or any home entertainment devices that have an infrared port. So this infrared blaster will send programming so you can change the channel on your HD TV at home, for example. The device is cloaked in a very glossy plastic here. It's a gray color, and there are striations in the glossy plastic. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but it makes for a similar texture as a brushed metal or brushed aluminum finish, although it is plastic. You won't have access, for instance, to the battery or to removable storage, so it comes with 32 gigs of onboard storage, but you won't be able to add a memory card, for example, to expand your storage. You can rely on the cloud if you need to expand for storage options. There's a single SIM card slot here, so you do need a SIM ejector tool on the AT&T model to pop open the SIM card, and it does connect pretty speedily to AT&T's 4G LTE network here in the US. And as you can see, the curved angle of the screen makes it very comfortable to hold, especially when you're holding it to your face, or if you're a guy and you like wearing or putting your phone rather in the inside jacket pocket of a blazer like I do. This actually curves to your body and makes for a more comfortable fit and feel rather than having just a large chunk or a 6-inch chunk of glass hugging your body without the curve. So this actually feels a lot better in your front jacket pocket as compared to the 6-inch AT&T Nokia Lumia 1520, which runs on the competing Microsoft Windows Phone platform. So the beauty of this curved display actually is for when you're holding it in landscape mode as such and you're watching a movie like a YouTube video or even Google Play videos or TV shows. And when you're holding it like this and you're holding it and watching it, it makes for a very immersive TV viewing experience. But again, it's on a 6-inch panel rather than a 60-inch curved TV panel. So in likelihood, you're not going to notice that much of a difference. Where you will notice a difference is in the rear facing speaker here. So this is the rear facing loudspeaker, and it does get pretty loud, but the nice thing about the LG speaker is that the audio fidelity is actually quite high. So unlike the Beats Audio with the boom sound speakers on the HTC One where you have the dual front facing speakers, this one you only have a single speaker on the back, but it is loud, and it gets just as loud as the HTC One speaker. However, it's not bass heavy and it doesn't sound synthesized or mechanical like the HTC speaker, so you're going to have nicer mid-ranges if you're a music listener. So for audiophiles, this is a great speaker that LG has implemented on the G Flex and also on the G2, so you're going to have the same speaker on both smartphones. So this device runs on Android 4.2.2, so it's a Jelly Bean. It's not the latest 4.4 KitKat. And LG does have its own customization. The main thing that I love about the UI is that you can use it, unlike other smartphones such as those from Samsung, in landscape orientation, especially on the home screen. So if you're mounting this in a car or you're just a landscape user, it gives you nice access to the home screen in the proper orientation as you're holding it. Whereas other smartphones, you can use apps in landscape, but the home screen here would be locked to portrait orientation. In terms of multitasking, LG has 3 different ways that you can multitask, so this is quite a useful tablet for those who like to stay productive and handle and juggle simultaneous things while on the go. The first method we're going to cover is called Q-Slide, and you can just enable it or disable it using the widget control here on the Android drop-down notification panel. So with Q-Slide, essentially you can run multiple applications, and it's similar to how Windows does applications in that you have floating windows that you can move around and of course resize to make it bigger or smaller. So here's one application. We're going to just go ahead and pull up several different applications just so that you get an idea of how Q-Slide works. So you have 2 applications running, and let's go ahead and pull up the notepad. So actually you can only run 2 and a main window underneath. To get access to see all 3, the 2 floating windows and the 3rd window, essentially what you can do is you can adjust the transparency. So by making the top windows more transparent, you can actually see what's going on behind you. And here I'm adjusting what's going on in the background. So I'm adjusting the home screen carousel. And of course you can tap on the window and then go ahead and make your calculations. So I'm going to go ahead and just close them out right now. So that's Q-Slide. The second method to multitask is similar to Samsung's multi-window view, or on Windows 8 if you're snapping 2 Metro UI applications side by side. So to activate that, you're going to hit and hold the back key on the on-screen Android navigation button. And essentially, let's go ahead, and these are some of the installed applications that are compatible with this method of multitasking. So I'm going to open up my messaging app on the top, and then on the bottom, I'm going to go ahead and open the browser. So here we have 2 applications running side by side, so it's very similar to multi-window view that we've covered previously. And of course, you can dedicate more window space to one application or the other. And you can also flip them around. So this is the second method of multitasking, and it allows you to run 2 applications simultaneously side by side. The only drawback between Q-Slide and the simultaneous window view is that only select number of applications. Not every application will work, although LG does give you a variety of first-party applications that are pre-installed to choose from. So you do have, so not all applications that you download from an app store like Google Play or Amazon App Store for Android will work with Q-Slide or the simultaneous windows. The second method is just is more expansive, so it will work with a number of applications, so any applications you've installed. So I'm going to go ahead and open up ISIS Wallet, and it says I need a new SIM, so I can't do that. So let's open up the Notebook application. And then essentially, if you just use a 3-finger gesture and you swipe inwards from the right edge of the phone, it's going to just minimize the application and dock it. So it's kind of like docking the application to the taskbar on Windows, or just like minimizing it on Mac OS X. And then you can open another application. So I'm going to open up Polaris Office, and we're going to skip the registration. And then again, we're going to go ahead and minimize it. You can open up to 3 applications using this method. So I'm going to go ahead and open up, let's open up my AT&T. Go ahead and accept. And we're going to go ahead and minimize it. And then to recall the application in this taskbar-like interface, all you would have to do is just swipe from the left edge here, and it will pull up the applications that you've docked or minimized. So if I just go ahead and tap on the Polaris Office, it's going to maximize that application. And if I do that again, it's going to go ahead and give me options for the other applications. So this application, this method actually just minimizes the app, so you can pull up another one and then you can juggle between the applications this way. So these are just these are just 3 of the most powerful multitasking features that LG has built into the LG UI, which is present both on the LG G2 and the newer LG G Flex smartphone. LG and AT&T had bundled also a number of other different applications. A quick theater application just pretty much gives you a nice UI to viewing your photos, your videos, and YouTube videos that you've taken. So it's just a nice carousel interface to allow you to view and scan for media content to take advantage of this immersive curved 6-inch display that we have. Another application that I just wanted to point out would be the family application. So this is Famigo, or it's called Famigo, and it's similar to the HTC Kids mode. So it allows you to just set a password and then give your phone to your child in their downtime or in your downtime so your child could be entertained, however restricting the applications that are available to your children so that they won't have access to your email or any other sensitive applications you have. So this is a nice way to give kids the power of a smartphone with the apps and the power of the internet without without giving them full access and full control in that manner. And then of course AT&T bundles a bunch of its own app, including drive mode, which limits the application when you're in a car, so you're going to be less tempted to text and drive. And just to create a safer driving environment, AT&T Locker gives you access to the cloud so you can store more applications in the cloud, because it does have limited storage, so it does give you wireless storage as well. So this is the LG G Flex. I'm Chung Nguyen for Gotta Be Mobile. Be sure to tune in to gottabemobile.com and check out our full review, our full written review with our thoughts, opinions, and our commentary of this smartphone. But this is a quick tour of the LG G Flex with the 6-inch display, which of course apes the 5.2-inch display of the flagship LG G2. Again, I'm Chung Nguyen for Gotta Be Mobile. Thanks for watching this video review of the LG G Flex for AT&T.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Soy David Ochoa y en esta ocasión les traigo el LG G3. Este es el unboxing. Vamos a hacer el unboxing de este teléfono que ya está en México. Es uno de los teléfonos probablemente más esperados de la temporada. Y pues esta es la caja en donde encuentran ustedes, además del teléfono, como ven, un cargador inalámbrico de regalo. Este es el teléfono de gama alta que actualmente LG tiene a la venta en México, y por lo mismo pues tiene un precio premium. Este es el teléfono que vemos aquí en color dorado. A lo mejor ustedes ya conocen el LG G2, que no trae botones ni en los costados ni en la parte central, en ningún lado, solamente atrás. Pues esto es lo que mantiene el G3. Es un teléfono con una pantalla de alta definición que ellos llaman Quad HD. Tiene además un procesador Snapdragon de 2.5 GHz de 4 núcleos. La pantalla es de 5.5 pulgadas y tiene una batería que ahorita vamos a quitarle, más bien a ponerle, para que ustedes vean, para que ustedes sepan que es un teléfono al que se le puede cambiar la batería, que es una batería de 3000 miliamperes. Antes de ver el teléfono vamos a terminar de ver lo que tiene en la caja. Es un teléfono de gama alta que va acompañado de unos audífonos también de gama alta, que son manos libres también. Audífonos in-ear, de los que ustedes pueden, los que van hasta dentro del oído. Tiene aquí sus controles y su conector. Este es conector estándar, entonces si ustedes tienen unos audífonos preferidos lo pueden ustedes también meter, pero pues estos se ven buenos. Este es el cargador de pared, su cable micro USB, que también pueden usar para la computadora. Bueno, este es el que va a la corriente o a la computadora, y el otro lado es el que va al teléfono, es micro USB también. Tenemos la batería, como les dije, se puede cambiar. Eso es lo bueno, una batería de 3000 miliamperes para que les dure todo el día con este teléfono. Y este es el regalo que veíamos en la parte de afuera de la caja, un cargador inalámbrico, ya que este teléfono viene listo para ser usado con un cargador inalámbrico. Este lo conectan ustedes el micro USB aquí, este a la computadora o a la corriente, y ya pueden ustedes esto va así, paradito. Y ahí tienen ustedes, se pone a cargar automáticamente. Bueno, está bueno que hagan ese regalo. Vamos a terminar de armar el teléfono. Le quitamos la tapa para ponerle la batería. Es un teléfono bien ligero. Y veamos, aquí tenemos micro SD. Pueden ustedes aumentar la memoria, el almacenamiento de este, que trae únicamente 16 GB de memoria, pero le pueden poner una micro SD de 64 si ustedes quieren. Aquí arriba va la memoria y acá abajo va el micro SIM. Vamos a ponerle la batería para poder encenderlo. Otra de las cosas que vienen del G2, además de los botones, es la manera de encenderlo. Una vez que está encendido, ustedes solamente tienen que tocar 2 veces la pantalla para encenderlo. Vamos a quitarle esto. Y presionando este botón, que se supone que cuando lo agarran queda a la altura de su dedo índice. Esa es la idea. Aquí están los botones de volumen, encendido, apagado, el doble flash para la cámara. Esta es una cámara de 13 megapíxeles con estabilizador óptico. Y esto es un sensor que se supone que usa un láser para tener un mejor enfoque en la cámara. Acá está la bocina. La parte de abajo el conector USB y el conector para audífonos. La parte de arriba, pues esto debe ser uno de los micrófonos. Vamos a encenderlo presionando aquí. La versión de Android es 4.4 KitKat. Y esta es la versión de Telcel, pero está disponible en con diferentes operadores aquí en México. Pues bueno, ahí tienen el LG G3 con sus audífonos in-ear que se ven buenos, con su cargador de pared y con su cargador inalámbrico, porque como les digo viene listo ya para la carga inalámbrica con el protocolo Qi. Un teléfono poderoso, un teléfono muy ligero, muy atractivo, como pueden ustedes ver. Una de las cosas que tiene este teléfono es el knock code, que es la manera de asegurar, de ponerle un patrón de password a su teléfono, que siempre es bueno tenerlo bloqueado. Y ustedes pueden hacer la configuración que deseen. Vamos a suponer que deseen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. hasta 8 toques, y ustedes pueden utilizar después la pantalla completa para hacer esa combinación. ¿Cómo era? Era 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Y listo, aquí está ya el G3. Miren qué bonito color, qué bonita pantalla. Los colores muy vivos. Y como les dije, lo pueden apagar y prender tocando 2 veces. Era 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ahí está. Ustedes pueden utilizar la combinación que quieran para bloquear y desbloquear su G3. Vamos a terminar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Y solamente les quiero enseñar la versión de Android. Versión de Android 4.4.2. Y pues ahí está, KitKat Android. Pues bueno, este fue el unboxing del LG G3, el teléfono de gama alta que LG ofrece ya en México con todos los operadores. Cuando lo haya usado les voy a platicar qué tal, les voy a traer la reseña completa aquí en Byte Podcast. Yo soy David Ochoa, muchas gracias y bye.
LG의 G3는 5.5인치 QHD 2560에 1440 해상도 그런 디스플레이 받는 제품인데요. 5.5인치 크기에 비해서는 전체적인 베젤 두께가 비교적 얇은 편이어서 예를 들면 5.2인치의 엑스페리아 Z2와 비교하면은 전체 화면이 되게 크게 느껴지는 반면 크기는 세로는 약간 작게 그렇게 느껴지는 정도로 크기 대비 전체적인 화면 크기 대비 전체적인 크기는 좀 비교적 잘 나온 제품인 듯 합니다. 이 같은 경우는 이렇게 헤어라인 처리가 되어 있지만 커버 자체는 플라스틱이기 때문에 금속 같은 느낌을 주는 그런 플라스틱 외형이라 생각을 하면 되고요. 전체적인 두께는 5.5인치 제품이긴 한데 150g 미만이어서 생각보다는 굉장히 가벼운 그러한 체감 크기를 제공하고 있습니다. 두께는 대략 두께는 이 정도로서 엑스페리아 Z2랑 비교하면은 상대적으로는 얇게 보이는데 엑스페리아 Z2는 플랫 디자인이고 G3 같은 경우는 얇다가 두꺼워지는 그런 형태이기 때문에 실질적인 체감 두께는 그렇게 큰 차이는 없을 것으로 보입니다. LG의 G3는 5.5인치 QHD 2560에 1440 해상도 그런 디스플레이 받는 제품인데요. 5.5인치 크기에 비해서는 전체적인 베젤 두께가 비교적 얇은 편이어서 예를 들면 5.2인치의 엑스페리아 Z2와 비교하면은 전체 화면이 되게 크게 느껴지는 반면 크기는 세로는 약간 작게 그렇게 느껴지는 정도로 크기 대비 전체적인 화면 크기 대비 전체적인 크기는 좀 비교적 잘 나온 제품인 듯 합니다. 이 같은 경우는 이렇게 헤어라인 처리가 되어 있지만 커버 자체는 플라스틱이기 때문에 금속 같은 느낌을 주는 그런 플라스틱 외형이라 생각을 하면 되고요. 전체적인 두께는 5.5인치 제품이긴 한데 150g 미만이어서 생각보다는 굉장히 가벼운 그러한 체감 크기를 제공하고 있습니다. 두께는 대략 두께는 이 정도로서 엑스페리아 Z2랑 비교하면은 상대적으로는 얇게 보이는데 엑스페리아 Z2는 플랫 디자인이고 G3 같은 경우는 얇다가 두꺼워지는 그런 형태이기 때문에 실질적인 체감 두께는 그렇게 큰 차이는 없을 것으로 보입니다.